a single-celled creature, and then you became two-cell, then you became three-cell, then you became multi-cell. Now you become little more only. Decently better. A decent development from a single cell has happened. So, in the process from the single-celled animal, from an atom to a molecule, right now this is a wonderful time to ask this question because there is virus. A virus is not a full-fledged life. It has proteins and enzymes to make it a life, but it's not yet life. Only when it enters your cell, it has a life. But by itself, it has no life, just a certain combo of protein. So decent, what? Dushyanta?
Divan.
Oh. So you were also pre-life, became life, became more and more complex life. Complexity itself is karma. Karma is not necessarily, even now as you sit here, karma is not necessarily only what you do like this. The thoughts that pass in your mind are karma, emotions that pass in your mind right now are karma. Simply, a thought just passed in your mind. You looked at the person next to you, thought, why is he here? He should be on the roof with the monkeys. Just like that, sometimes thought like this come. Hello. So this karma just happened inadvertently, not caused by you, caused by the monkeys dancing on the roof. So, because monkeys came there, you looked at this guy. At a certain angle, he looked a certain way to you. Maybe it's the lighting, maybe it's the way he sat, maybe something, and a thought came and went. Now you performed a karma. That somewhere you look at another human being and you think he's a monkey. Now this won't stop here, you understand? Now you looked at him and thought you're a monkey. Tomorrow, we changed your department and you're in the monkey department. Oh my God, I have to work with this monkey today. It will continue. And if suppose the situations are placed like that, he is in charge of the department, you have to work under him. Do I have to be instructed by a monkey like this? It will grow. And this is how you became a racist. All right? Because initially it's just a passing thought. Then depending on situations, how they corner you here, there, slowly it multiplies. This is even happening to every other creature. So gradually, karmic substance builds up, becomes more and more complex. Well, clearly, evolutionary sciences are telling us the initial human beings were very simple, half-bent human beings, very small brain, they couldn't think much, they just survived like any other creature. Everybody knows that, right? So from there you built your karma. I don't know why nobody could answer this question for you, everybody knows this. Maybe they thought you are not worth answering. Because I am such a fool, I don't think anybody is not worth answering, because I don't think any question is not worth answering. I'm taking all kinds of idiotic questions from all over the world. So, this is also because maybe you have some conclusion of your own, it's not really a question, you're testing everybody with your question, so they might have said, this happened. A committed, marijuana is legal in many states in the United States. So the man who is committed to this, because a lot of people are approaching it like a philosophy. It is not just a compulsion that they have, it's a philosophy. We smoke, so we are superior to you. Yes. There is something called as endocannabinoids that you can generate within your own body. That means whatever the cannabis does, you can do it in your brain and your body. That is why cannabis receptors are there. Because you are a malfunctioning system, you're not able to generate your own thing. See, right now, suppose you are not able to secrete enough thyroid juices, then they will put thyroid into your system. You're not able to produce enough hormones in your system, they will put hormone into your system. You're not able to produce enough insulin in your system, they put insulin into your system. Similarly, because for some reason you are a malfunctioning machine, that you are not able to produce your endocannabinoids and be blissed out, you're putting from outside. But the difference between endocannabinoids that you generate and you're blissed, and outside one also may cause some bliss, but it also causes certain dislocation of your intelligence. Never before has it happened that someone who is blissed out because of his meditative nature ever left off a mountain and thought he is going to fly. But many smokers and LSD takers and drug takers have done this. So, this committed, in US these days they're calling themselves stoners. Back to Stone Age. I am also stoned, but not a stoner, just stoned. So, he called the fire brigade and said, "My house is on fire, just come quickly." "How do I get there?" the fireman asked. "Come on, get into a big red truck and get here." What to do? What to do? So right now, you're wasting your time very indecently. Because these are all questions of the vain. Because mainly your questioning is towards whoever those… I don't know who are those people that you ask questions. In some way you want to make a fool out of them. That's all you're interested in. You're not interested in knowing anything about yourself. You're not interested in having tools for your transformation or growth. You said you went for Vipassana. Vipassana means no questions. Simple instruction, just do it, do it, do it and do it. Because that is a process which demands perseverance as the greatest quality. Gautama taught Vipassana to large groups of people because there was no time to prepare them. He was every day moving from village to village, town to town, no time to bring understanding into those people. So no teaching, no question, just simple instruction. Get the instruction right, just do it, do it, do it. Slowly it will transform you. It's a bit laborious process, but a fantastic process that even if you have no clue what you're doing, if you just do it, slowly it will transform who you are. When I say transform you, every aspect of you, including your chemistry, gradually it will transform. It's a laborious process because in those times, you must understand, he was teaching 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago, the common wavelength of the society was not intellectual understanding. The common wavelength of the society which lived hard lives was perseverance. People could persevere. Today, to make them persevere, you have to talk to them for hours and hours and hours because they think they understand everything. Those days, people had no such problems. They knew that they don't understand. So you had to just you had to just instruct them and say, do it. And those were good times for the gurus. Because if you give an instruction and say, you must do it, you just do it. You know, my mother, Some yogi in Nandi Hills, once we went to Nandi Hills and she showed me the cave where she was initiated. She gave… that yogi gave her some mantra, I don't know who he is anyway. And she never had a picture or she wouldn't even talk, utter his name. But every day she did something with eyes closed. Right through our life, we've been her life, 4 children, husband is her life. She married at the age of 17 and that's her life. But before that, she was initiated and this yogi told her, whatever happens with your life, you must do it every day. Every day she is doing something with her eyes closed. We say, what are you doing? Say, well, this yogi gave me a mantra, I just do it. We want to know what's the mantra. So we played all kinds of tricks on her, tried to compel her, emotionally, blackmail her. You tell us this mantra. Such a gentle and easy person to deal with, always she was. But not once, no matter what, either to her husband or to her children, she ever told the mantra because the yogi said, you don't share this with anybody. I mean to say, it was so easy to instruct them. If I tell you, keep this to yourself, you'll put it on the social media. So, because giving instruction was very effective and simple in the previous generations, especially 2500 years ago, Gautama chose this path. No understanding, no teaching, obviously no questioning, just do it. Only to those who gathered around him, who traveled with him, who were in close association with him, to them he taught shunya because that needs understanding. Without bringing substantial understanding, that won't happen. So, you went to Vipassana. That means you must just shut up and do it. Not ask this question, that question, because that question or the answer will not in any way add to your practice. The practice has been designed in such a way, irrespective of who you are, if you do it, it will work. It's just that it's a bit laborious. You have to do it for hours every day, for a long period of time. But it will work, it's a fantastic device for those times. Even now it is for a whole lot of people. So, don't waste your time. The decent thing for you to do is, if you're here, I don't know where you are, if you're here, take instructions and just do it. Otherwise, stick to the Vipassana and do it, one way or the other. Take one forward step, rather than standing in the same place and looking all over the place. It won't add to your life in any way. It's just that in foolishness you will think you're smart by gathering these things. Maybe now I have said what I have said, you will go and tell somebody else, you know what Sadhguru said, this is what it is, even he doesn't know. Or you will make it your answer and put it on the social media. Whatever you do, it's of no use. Existentially, if you want to move on, you must do something existential within you. You do psychological things and you think you will move on, you will not. You know what is my handicap? You want to know? Simply, being straight and honest is my big handicap. Yes, no deviousness, this is my handicap, what do you think? Tell me, Sadhguru, it's not a handicap. Hey! Some of my advisors think this is a handicap, I'm too straight and blunt about too many things. But that's the way I will be. If you don't like it,
Next question is from Sneha. Namaskaram Sadhguru. I understand the logical explanation of being conscious, but there are moments when I am really compulsive. For example, for certain kind of food, I know I am being compulsive and I need to be conscious, but I am still not able to do it. Is there a mantra which can make me conscious and stop me in those moments?
Oh, you don't need a mantra. There are simple devices which could do this. After his meal is over, every day, just about 6 inches of duct tape. At least with the mask on these days, you must shut up a little bit. Hello? What is that? You have a mask on, you better talk little because you're sounding ridiculous with the mask on. Huh? So, for compulsions, mantras won't do. We need some devices. Either we can put duct tape or we can lock you up in a room. So simple, you know, it'll work. Or you do it yourself. When you say, I will not open my mouth, do not open your mouth. Namaskar. Yoga Yoga Yogeshwaraya Bhuta Bhuta Bhuteshwaraya Kala Kala Kaleshwaraya Shiva Shiva Sarveshwaraya Shambho Shambho
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.